Well, today I know everybody's heard of Woody's Lock and Key, and I've got Jim Woody here with me today. He's what we refer to as a man's man, and it's going to be a great discussion. When you play golf, what's the temperature that you just won't go out and play?
I played yesterday.
I rode bikes yesterday.
It was in the low to mid 40s.
Yeah.
Now with no wind, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But now if it's windy, mid 50s.
Whenever you read a story in the newspaper or see something on television about somebody getting arrested, you naturally assume they're guilty. Unless the story's about you or someone you love, then you'll think differently. And you'll want a lawyer who will defend you. My name's Scott Canavis. If you or someone you love has been charged with a crime, call me. I'll return your phone calls, I'll work on your case, and I will defend you.
Say it's 36 degrees. Would that be too cold to play golf?
I'm really going to have to want to play at 36 degrees.
Would you ride or walk?
Depending on the conditions, I would walk. Probably 99% walk at 36 degrees.
Because the riding is so cold in the...
Yes.
It's freezing, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you're adding wind chill. As you're going down the cart path, you're adding wind chill.
Of course, you got that piece of glass, but that ain't much count.
It don't do nothing. It don't do anything.
Well, mate, you're a very avid guy. I was talking to a guy yesterday. He said you're a really good golfer.
He's a liar. I try. I've gotten a lot better. I've been working more on the fine points of the game. It's taken close to 25 years to learn smart golf, and instead of going for every shot, actually framing shots.
Getting in the right place?
Yes, and being able to put yourself in the right place on the green. That has a whole lot to do with it. It's a lot more, knowing what I know now, golf's a lot harder sport than what I thought of it when I first started.
So would you say that golf's a lot like life? You're better off putting yourself in the right position than you are going for the green?
Yes, yes. More practice just in life. If you want to be good at something, you've got to work at it. And if you're not willing to do that, you're not going to make it.
Hard work will override talent.
Yes.
In time. And then maybe you become talented. But you know, when I play golf, I've played with some people that can hit those balata balls. They'll hit the green and roll right back with a backspin on it. That's an incredible sight, isn't it?
With a good enough swing, you can back up a rock.
It is unbelievable.
Yeah. Those balatas, they are actually a few still in circulation. There's some companies that have actually sort of trying to reproduce that. And, well, can I name drop?
Yeah.
Vice Pro Pluses. They're not a balata, but yet they have a balata feel.
What did balata, they quit making the balata?
Oh, yeah, technology just, they were a liquid filled center. And it was, my big thing was, especially because the balatas were still around in the mid-90s when I first started playing golf. And they were big. And you'd find balls, pick them up, you know, and they'd be all scuffed up because the balatas are real soft, too.
Yeah.
And, you know, you chunk one, you're going to put a smiley face on it. And so a lot of people wouldn't play those scuffed up balls and stuff, and they wouldn't hunt for them, and I was always in the weeds or in the woods, so I found my fair share of them. But it cut them open, and they was wrapped in rubber bands, what made you think of rubber bands, and then they had a little ball in the center, and it was liquid filled. And that helped with that spin and stuff, in my opinion.
But if you're going for to hit long, you wouldn't hit a balata, right? You'd hit
No.
something a little hard with an exact crack when you hit it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, basically like the Pro Vs and the Pro VXs today, they're solid balls. They're 3-4-piece balls. And with the different density and materials inside and stuff, it changes that whole aspect. And you can get them, that'll give you a higher launch trajectory off the club face. And you can get them with lower trajectories. You got them with more spin, more roll, less spin, less roll.
You got to know which one you're hitting, don't you? But
Yeah.
for what you're going for.
It helps if you know your swing speed has a lot to do with it. If you can go and this year's first year I actually went and bought a set of clubs and had them fitted. And they had me on a golf trainer that actually would tell me my swing speeds, the angles that I'm coming in and hitting the ball, and the trajectory that it is coming off the club face, which has so much to do.
So when they fitted you, did it make a marked difference?
On an average missed shot, I may be 20 yards right or left. That's down to probably 8 to 10 yards.
That's a big deal.
That's a big difference.
Big difference.
And I'm a decent chipper, so you get me inside that, that's the difference between a par and a bogey, basically.
Did you ever play out at par 3 on over in Ooltewah, Georgetown Road? Did you ever play at the par 3?
No. I had started playing, and me and a buddy of mine went down there to go play that course, and they had done closed down.
It
So
had
we went
been.
to
It
Hooters.
probably wasn't closed long because
Yeah.
I played there up until, I guess, I don't know when I played. I used to go to the Tuesday night Choose Up,
Okay.
and it was a par 3, and it was really fun. They'd choose up, and
Now, is that the one sort of right next to where the mall was at?
no, this is one that was in a field, and it was a par 3, and it was like 10 holes or something like that. The guy that owned it was the plumbing inspector for Chattanooga.
Okay.
And I started going there so I could get a job passed.
Yeah, I understand.
But it was real fun, and they'd have night golf where they had the.
Oh, so that's something we need in this area now.
We'd do that where the balls would glow at night.
Yes.
It was really something.
That is very popular. I mean, in a lot of your, well, a little bit larger cities, I'm surprised Chattanooga hasn't had something more like that that's actually kept up with it. But that's maybe something for you to think about.
Well, I tell you what, a golf course would cost you fortunes to keep
Night
it
golf,
up.
9 holes.
Yeah, and at night nobody'd know how good it was because you're just sort of like there
Right.
for fun.
Yeah.
Do you play at Shadow Valley?
Play Chatta Valley. We play all over the place. My group, I'm in a Sunday morning group, and we travel around. There's a couple of us that still left. We've had several that's passed away on us and stuff, but we've been playing together for 24, 25 years.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Was there like 10 of you?
I was nailing them all off to a buddy of mine just yesterday when we was talking. It was about 16 to 22
Golly.
that would play. And of course, you would never get everybody there
Yeah.
all the time, but we would consistently have anywhere between 8 to 16 every Sunday. And of course, when the weather was nice and fair, then everybody would turn out. If it wasn't, it'd be 8 to 10 of us that were diehard that would come play.
Well, it's good to have a group like that, isn't it? I mean,
It
it's
is.
so much camaraderie.
Yeah, until they start dying off on you.
You know, those groups like that form in all kinds of, whether it's bowling or coffee or at bars, I guess, or
yeah.
just communities.
Well, it's a meeting of like minds, basically.
That's what it is, like minds. That's a good way to put it. I don't know why they're so comforting to that, but it is.
Yeah, it sure is.
Let me ask you this: you being a locksmith, you remember watching these old westerns where they'd go up to the safe and they'd have a guy go like it? Could they really do that?
You can feel some things on the older safes, and they are manipulation methods that you can use on some of the real old stuff. But the technology and security, the way things are manufactured today, that's just all TV.
But back
prop
then,
stuff.
like on Gunsmoke, they were really
You'll hear stuff, but hearing it, there's no way to translate that into actual, what's really going on inside the lock body. When you spin a dial on a safe, and most all the safes are 3 to 4 wheel combinations. Okay, as you turn it 4 times, okay, it's picking all those wheels up, and what you hear, you've got a gate that drops in each of the slots that has to be lined up before, when you run your combination, then it unlocks it, and then you can open your safe up. Okay, every rotation, that's going to bounce up and down off of those, and you're going to feel it as well as hear it. Mm-hmm. Now, some of the manufacturers, they were all spaced out the same. No matter what the numbers were set on, that spacing was going to stay the same. So one of the manipulation methods was being able to figure out where it was with what's on the dial, and then you'd add or subtract whatever you needed to, and you'd come up with those numbers. Some of the cheaper ones, they could actually do that with.
So back in the Old West, there were the safe
handful.
cracker.
Yes.
Because when everybody's going to go rob a place, it was, this is the guy, this is the lookout, this is the safe cracker.
We're talking mid 1800s,
Mm-hmm.
late 1800s. Anything manufactured, say, past the 20s, that was a reputable company, you would never be able to do that with.
But prior to that, there
were some you could. And now, I have actually manipulated one old safe before. And, of course, customer, all my life, the customer would always stand over my shoulder, watching what I was doing. And, it don't bother me today, as long as they don't get in between me and what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I always work with a safe before I break out the tools and start drilling, or depending on what kind of safe it is, what I have to do to get into it. And this one time I was able to, kept fiddling with it and got it open. And I didn't have the heart to tell the man that was the first time for me. And it never happened since. But I did. I walked up to that thing. I sat there for about 15, 20 minutes and worked with it. And I felt it drop in. And I just turned to him and smiled and opened his safe right up for it. And then, of course, I took everything apart and set him a combination on it and stuff. And, of course, he was way up in years. I was in, tell my age now, it's about 20, 25 years ago when I done that.
It's amazing, all those safes, like in schools, the padlocks and stuff, how they can have so many combinations with just so many few numbers.
Oh.
I can still remember my combination.
I never learned mine.
I don't know why. I think it's that repetition. It's like your Social Security number. You can paste it in your mind.
We had some inexpensive combination locks is what I used on my locker there at Polk County High School, where I went to high school at. And I never would keep up with the combination. I just put a little pressure on it and turn the dial and it'd pop it open. I mean, those things were so flimsy. And one of my youngest daughters, she's gone through, there's no telling how many little combination locks. Mainly what a lot of the kids use now are those roller combinations on their lockers and stuff. I would say they're more glorified luggage
like
locks.
a luggage lock.
And of course, if you've got 3 wheels, then you've got 999 possible combinations. If you've got 4, then you've got 9,999 combinations. And sometimes, I have sat at the shop on a slow day and run through each one of them until I find the one it is. And then the older ones were actually made better. The newer ones, they're a little, there's ways to figure those combinations out without having to go through all the possible combinations.
Wonder when they started locking stuff up. I guess that was years and years ago. I guess it was
right after the first thieving.
I guess they had to then figure out a way to lock it, whether it was with a chain or.
There's, you can go back, thousands of years. There were all kinds of rudimentary locks and stuff. You see some of them like in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, as they're going through the different tunnels and they're having to do certain things to gain access.
Yeah.
Well, they had, we think we own the technology. Mankind has forgotten more than we'll ever know, and with the stuff in the past.
Because they would do levers
Yes. Yes. I mean, there were some, I mean, even use water and the buoyancy of things to create a passage to be able to slide a bolt to unlock it, to open a door or a vault type setup.
People have been locking stuff since the beginning of time. Do you think was your dad was he the original Woody's Lock and Key?
Yes. Yes.
Y'all been at that same location for all these years?
We've been on Ocoee Street for 43 years. We've been at 3 different locations. Well, 4 technically, but one was right next to the other one.
When did was he the first? Was it your grandfather or your father that started the locksmith?
Oh, Dad did.
So what was his background?
He was a Navy vet. Worked, of course, tried to go back into the Navy. Of course, around Cleveland here about the time in the early 70s and stuff, there wasn't much going on. It was either factory work, or start your own business kind of thing, and didn't have the means to do it at the time, so he started working at Magic Shelf and worked there for several years, and then took a Foley Bell Saw locksmith course. I'm assuming that he seen the ad in the back of a Mother Earth magazine.
Something as simple as that started it.
That started it. And he took the correspondence course over several months. And they'd send you a project, you'd complete the project, and you'd mail it back. They'd grade it, and it was back and forth like that. And he still got his certificate of successful completion from the Foley Bell Saw Institute.
So when did you start working with him?
Well, I didn't have much of a choice. I was either, he wouldn't let me stay at home. So I was 7, 8 years old, and we had a shop there in Benton for 2 years. So when school was out especially, I had to go in with him. And then, of course, if we had any calls like at night or something, I'd ride with him and stuff. One of the first vehicles I ever opened was like a 1978 Honda Accord, and we was up at the powerhouse up on the Hiwassee River. These old boys had been up there fishing, had them a good time, and had locked their keys up in it. Well, I would be bored sitting at the shop, and Dad would always get these locksmith publications and stuff. Well, I'd sit and I'd read through them, look at the pictures and stuff. Well, every issue would have tips and tricks on how to do certain things. Well, he's working on the car, and he's working on the driver's side for some reason, because we never go to the driver's side. We always go to the passenger side. And I'm realizing he ain't got the right tools. Like, Dad, I said, this is what you need. This is the right tool. He said, no, you get back in the van and sit down. And so I went back and I sat there for a little bit, and then I snuck back out of the van and went. And I remember Dad saying, uh-oh, because when I opened the door, the inside lights come on. And I reached through and unlocked the door for him. Well, we charged $25. It's like 11:30 at night. And we charged $25. And the old boy, of course, he was a bit inebriated. And he said, well, Woody said, I ain't giving you the money to the boys that would have done the work, and gave the money to me. Well, I stuck it right in my pocket. I'd done the job. Yeah. And then Dad explained to me how much it cost for him to bring me up there to do that. And so he got the money.
Is he still around?
Oh, yeah. Dad turned 80 this year.
80 years old. Is he in good health?
In good health. He has tweaked his shoulder a little bit that he needs to go and have checked out, but he's a bit hard-headed.
I bet he's unlocked about everybody's house or car over the years. Think about that.
We can't go 2 or 3 minutes driving down the road without, we've worked on this house, we've done such and such at this house. I mean, of course, Cleveland's grown by leaps and bounds in the last 15 years. I mean, it's gone gangbusters. And, but at one time, you couldn't go 5 houses without us actually working on 2 of them.
Locksmith was always the trusted, the honest person, because they were the people that could get back into your house. They were like the constable or something of that level of impeccable reputation. Maybe more so then than it is now, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot of fly-by-nighters that are giving locksmith and the whole profession a bad name. And just acting outside of, true ethics or honesty. And I mean, I take a lot of, I take a lot, well, what am I, how, you definitely have to safeguard yourself because people bring you into their home, into their inner sanctums, whether it be working on their safes or anything else. And there's a lot of responsibility with that. And because I am a full-time locksmith, a full-service locksmith. I work on everything from residential to industrial, institutional, safes, cars, I mean, you name it.
Schools.
Schools, that's by institutions.
Yeah.
And you steal something one time, you're ruined. You know, you can't do that.
Even if they thought you did.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, you got to be real careful.
And I remember when cameras first come out, people started getting cameras for their homes and stuff. They I was either Channel 3 or Channel 9 had an expose on these HVAC people that was coming out. Well, the man, I mean, evidently got in a bind, had used the bathroom. Well, he just turned around the corner, used the bathroom, then went back and got their heat and air system set up. Well, they made a big to-do about it. And well, I remember Mom telling me, "You better." They've got cameras everywhere, and this was in the 80s, you know. And I thought, "Well, Mom, I ain't doing anything." I said, "People's always watching me anyway, so I mean, I've always got somebody watching me, but I've never had the desire, you know. If I can't earn it, I don't want it, you know. But now, if I have earned it, I better get it."
Now, let me ask you this. Y'all been in Polk County their whole life?
Dad was born and raised in Alabama, and Mom was actually born in Alabama, but while she was a baby, they moved to Polk County. And my Uncle Jasper Woody, who at the time owned the Polk County News, and later on started up the radio station, WBIN. Dad had got out of the Navy and had come up and was visiting with Jasper, and he offered him a job, you know, working for him, and that's what got Dad up here after he got out of the Navy. And then he wound up staying, met Mom not long after that there, and they were married in 69 or 70, 69, I think they were married in 69, and then had me in 71.
Now, would there be any relation to Oakley Woody?
Pretty much all the Woodies are kin.
What's that other guy's name that's Oakley's brother that's from Polk County?
Oh, shoot. You ain't talking about Dewey? There's a Dewey Woody from Polk County. There's a Dwayne, a Darrell. I mean, the Woody families generally have extremely large families.
He owns some warehouses there in Polk County, I think.
Oh, Mike Woody.
Mike Woody,
Mike,
yeah.
That was, Mo Woody was his
that's
dad.
it, Mo Woody.
Yep.
God, why did I get to Mo Woody? Yeah, that's Oakley's brother.
Really?
That's Oakley. Did
So
you know
I did
Oakley?
not know that. Yes, I knew Oakley.
He had the video place on North Lee Highway. I always liked Oakley.
Yeah. Oh, he was something.
Oakley liked me.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
You're likable.
I mean, I just remember Oakley just liked me, or he made me think he did anyway. You know, I don't remember.
Now, what I know of Oakley, he either liked you or he didn't like you.
He was a gruff type guy, kind of a gruff. I would classify him as that.
He just straight to the point.
Straight to the point. Oakley Woody.
That's a lot of people say that about me. Like in the mornings, I'm only in the shop for a set amount of time. Then I got to start my outside calls and stuff.
You're very scheduled, aren't you?
I try to be. It don't always work out.
What time do you get there?
I get there usually 15 after 8. And depending on if I've got something to do, I have come in as early as 6 o'clock to try to get ahead on the day.
But you've got to be on a schedule or they'll just run you to death.
Oh, yeah.
Wanting open this, open that.
Yeah. It almost don't go a day without me aggravating somebody because they want me to stop what I'm doing and come take care of their situation. And a lot of times it's something that's been drug out for 3 or 4 months, and then today's the day they decide they want it done.
Yeah.
And it just ain't gonna work. And I'm a one-man show. And so if I don't stay to some kind of schedule, then everything, you'll be buried.
So if you call it, I know if you call your shop after you leave, you're gone. It's that next day.
In most cases.
And you've got to be like that, or they'll run. You got to run your business, or they'll run you.
Yeah, yeah.
So how long are you there in the mornings till?
Well, I get there, like I said, usually I try to be there by 8, but I don't open the doors up till 9 o'clock because I've either got some book work to do, I've got some paperwork, or I've got to start making some phone calls and double check and make sure things are still lined up for that day. So I can make sure, and a lot of here, especially last week with all the cold weather, I had several that wanted to postpone or cancel for now, which that opened up some stuff, but yet it was too cold. I didn't go outside and do anything, but I did. I was outside every day.
Would you have people walk in at 9 o'clock?
Oh, I've got people who are waiting on me at 9 o'clock.
Golly, I wouldn't.
I mean, Friday, typically Mondays and Fridays are the worst. That's the busiest days.
When I was in there Friday, there was a lady in there.
Yeah.
Was that a customer?
Yes. Yes, I'd probably had about 15 people, 15 to 20 people already in the shop.
What are they wanting?
Oh, from anything from key duplication.
So they don't go
to
they don't go to Ace. They go. You can go to your place and get them.
Oh yeah. Mine generally worked right the first time.
I've gone back to Ace. I go back. I always say make 2 of them, and I'll bring 2 back.
Yeah. Oh, I love them over here at our Ace here in Cleveland. I mean, they're good people. I shop in there myself and know most of the people in there.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're good people. They send me a lot. They send me a lot of business and stuff. Of course, the bad thing is people really don't understand. They'll take a worn out key and have it duplicated. Well, I mean, a duplication is in essence a facsimile of what you've got.
Yeah. So if it's wore out.
If it's wore out, all you're going to get is a brand new copy key that is worn out already.
So what do you do? Look up some of that.
Well, but now I can just read them. I can just
You
look
can
at the
read
cuts,
what's
what it
wore.
should be. Yeah. And I do that every single day, 4 or 5 times a day on automotive logs. Fords, Toyotas, and Nissans are probably the worst as far as wearing out the fastest.
Even the newer models, do they wear
Well,
out?
most all your new stuff now is push to start. And
So there's
that,
no
you don't
key
have
at
that.
all.
Well, you have an emergency key to get in case the battery in the remote goes dead, but you don't use a key per se to actually crank the vehicle up anymore. It's all, you've got that little proximity remote in your pocket, and you just sit in, put your foot on the brake, and mash the button, and the car cranks.
So do you think that will eventually make people not needing keys, or you think keys will?
You always got to have a backup. How good is electronics today?
Yeah, and the little battery goes out in the things.
And then you have no way to get
No
in.
way. You got to have the backup.
Keys will never go away.
Do you think how much does a key cost if you buy just a blank?
It ranges. Used to they'd be anywhere between 3 to 5, 10 cents a piece.
Yeah.
Now I've got some that I'm paying just a regular key, nothing electronic or anything, nothing restricted, no special order stuff. I've got some that just the blanks cost me $12.50.
Golly, I would have never dreamed. I would have thought
It's
$1.50.
Yeah. Yeah. Those little master padlocks, you see them, you can usually get them in a 4-pack for like $4.97. And they've got the rectangular square cuts in them. Okay, those, you can buy 4 of them for say $5. Okay, those key blanks there, the last time we ordered them, which has been over 20-something years ago, I don't even cut them anymore. And because the blanks cost more than the padlocks do. And then that's whether I've cut it or not. Cutting one then was like $3.75. We're talking in the late 80s. And people say, well, great, they only give $1.50 for the padlock. And now I hadn't even priced them. I don't even know if they still make them. I know they still got them in stores. But I don't know if my distributors even carry those padlock keys, those key blanks
I guess the best thing to do is just cut it off and get a new lock.
Yeah. Get a good one that you can get some keys for.
Would you mostly just... So your business is not just getting people in their house when they're locked or lost their keys. I would have thought that was the
I probably
majority.
done 2 or 3 unlocks last month.
So what's the time filled up with?
Rekeying houses, rekeying businesses, repairing.
rekeying the whole. Oh, you mean like going out and rekeying the whole, like rekeying an apartment or something?
Yes. I've got several apartment complexes that I have on master systems, whereas that entire complex would have a master key that would work the entire complex, and then each individual unit would have its own working key. And when you do that off a true master system, then I can guarantee that Unit A is not going to work Unit B or Unit C. And there's going to be that level of security there.
Boy, that's complicated, isn't it? When you get 100 units.
It is, but it ain't. It depends on how often you deal with it.
How was your dad like retiring? Was he able to give it up that easy, or was it?
Well, he was county commissioner when he decided to sell the business.
In Polk County?
In Polk County, yep, in District 1. He's a county commissioner and was also, he held some office in the Polk County Chamber of Commerce as well. And after the last county election we had a couple of years ago, they had done the redistricting and everything, and he had lost his seat by 6 votes. Well, he, in 2020, maybe it might have been 2019, he was elected as the president of the Chamber of Commerce in Benton. Well, then with COVID, that paused everything, and it wasn't until recently that he give that up. But then the funny thing is, they call him on stuff all the time. He's still very active with that. He's not really slowed down. He's redirected his attention, I'll say, to other things.
Is so he's not like maybe me and you'd be with retirement. It'd drive us crazy, wouldn't it?
No, I'd be on the golf course. I would find something to do. They wouldn't be dealing with people.
People are getting to where they're crazy, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
I wonder if I'm getting that way too. Myself, I find myself getting crazy.
If we keep dealing with it long enough, we're going to have to be. I mean, you can't be around it that long and it not rub off.
It just, you can't, can you?
No.
I mean, no matter how we try, you just can't be around them all the time, rude people, without getting rude back to them.
I had a young man walk out of the shop mad at me here just this past week. He was telling me what his key was doing, and so I was testing it. I've got tools where I can actually read the transponders, see if they're programmed, see if they're emitting signals and all that. And as I'm going through and explaining to him how it works, well, he just took his key back and said, well, I'll check it and left. Didn't let me finish. And he made the comment, he said, well, I'm not arguing with you. I said, I'm not arguing. I'm just explaining how this works so you will know. But Harry, you can't please everybody.
You can't please everybody.
And I tried for years and years and years trying to, and now I'm to the point where, okay, that's fine. Have a nice day.
You know, I was like that too. I get to where I used to worry so much about what people think. Still do some.
Yeah,
but
you always will, if you care.
But I think you just eventually get burn out with it.
That is exactly right.
The last time I talked, you were going down to Mexico Beach.
No.
Was it Mexico Beach?
Oh, St. George Island.
St. George Island.
St.
Where'd I
George
get
Island.
Mexico Beach?
I don't know.
Is that close?
I think that's on the Atlantic.
Where I
St. George
got
is on the Gulf.
Wonder where I got Mexico Beach.
No, maybe Mexico Beach is okay.
I don't know why I had Mexico Beach in my head.
I mean, it's close. I think it is close now that you say that.
If you could retire, would you go live down there? Or would you stay in Polk County?
I'd have somewhere to stay down there for the winter.
Well, I tell you, these winters are bad here in
Well, I don't do the cold.
God, I don't either. It can't get hot enough for me.
No.
I'm okay with 92 degrees, and I'm thinking, well, it's getting about right.
Yep. You know, these last few years I've been going down, I've been playing golf down there at the, Port St. Joe Golf and Country Club. And I'd get out there, I'd roll in about 8:30, 9 o'clock. And of course, the early birds, they were getting in and getting gone. Yeah. And because it was getting hot and humid, because it's a little inland. And they was asking, said, don't this bother you? I was like, I'm from Southeast Tennessee. I said, we're used to 95 degrees, 98% humidity. I said, this ain't nothing. I said, this is golfing weather for me. I said, I can move. My My joints are
Mine-
lubricated.
That's the way I feel. I feel like my joints move more.
Yeah, when it's cold, especially like last week, I'm so stove up. I mean, can't move good. I don't like it. I don't like it.
I think maybe our great ancestors were from hot regions. That's the only thing I can figure. Because cold weather bothers me more than it does friends of mine. I mean, when it's like my friend Alvin, when it's 50, 45 degrees, he's just starting to feel good, and I'm already miserable.
Yeah, not much past 50, and I'm not happy. I can deal. My ideal would be a winter with the lows in the high 40s and no wind.
Yeah, no wind. I
No
can't
wind.
stand wind either.
Maybe on 1 or 2 weekends it can be a little windy, and then after that they're
My
back up in the
cheeks get
60s
chapped in the
Yes.
wind.
Well, I got wind chapped yesterday, and there wasn't much of a breeze yesterday, but that cool, cold breeze. When I got to the house and was changing clothes, I looked in the mirror and I was all flush and red, and you just like a sunburn, you just mash your fingers to it, and then it'd go white, and then it'd go back beat red again.
My wife said the other night, she said, your face is red, your face is red. She just kept on. And
Yeah.
I looked and it was red, but I hadn't done anything. I'd just been outside a little bit.
Yeah.
I guess I just don't like cold weather.
I mean, boy, last week with the wind and stuff and the wind chill and stuff, it wouldn't take you no time, and you could be really in trouble then.
I've been wearing 2 pairs of socks.
You
I don't
never
like
got no smart wool? That
I
smart
guess
wool
I've been
stuff,
wearing.
that-
I wear a smart wool, and then I put another sock over that.
Yeah.
And I've been testing it, which is better, the other sock and then the sock,
Right.
the wool sock, but the other one will fall down, and that drives me crazy.
Yeah,
That
I
drives
hate
me
seeing that.
insane. Do you have in your car? Do you have a little van or a truck or what?
A Vans.
So you have enough there to do just about anything?
Well, of course, I don't go into anything blind. So I ask a lot of questions when I'm lining a job up. Some people get aggravated at that because I want to know exactly what I'm working on. And so I can plan for every contingency. In this day and age with the cell phones and stuff has helped quite a bit because they can either make a little video and show me what's going on or take pictures and stuff. And usually by that I can deduce whatever I need, and I'll throw it in the van and then go out and take care of it and then go on to the next job.
So after you leave the office, you're lined up for 4 or 5 different things, different places.
Most of the time. Like I'll be working usually through the summers. I will line stuff up out of town work on like Tuesdays. So when I leave on a Tuesday during the summer and stuff, I usually don't come back into the shop. So it'll be Wednesday morning before I'm even back in Cleveland.
Why Tuesday? What's significant about that?
Tuesdays overall have been a slower day, and if the customer can wait, then I'll stack 2 or 3 in the same location on that day. Whether it's running to Athens, Meigs County. Of course, now this week coming up, I've got to go and do some work up in Copper Hill. And of course, you never know with the River Road going up there. So that may be all day just getting there.
Boy, me and you, we do a lot of traveling, don't we?
Yes.
I do a lot of traveling too, and that's one thing that attracted me to what I do. I don't like to be in one spot.
No.
I like to be able to go and stop and get me a Coke if I want to, or a cup of coffee.
Right. That's one thing about locksmithing. It's always something different. It's not the same thing day in, day out.
But you're a one-man operation. You ever thought about having helpers? Help just more
I've
complicated.
tried. I've had a couple of people, and had one that was just was perfect, mechanically gifted, and had rather stay in their job that they had. Of course, he's moved on now from that position and working at a neighboring municipality, and is making quite a bit more money now. But at the time, he worked for me 3 days that first week, and his paycheck from me was more than what he made in 2 weeks from his employer at the time. And he made it about 6 weeks, and it's probably more like 4 weeks. The way his schedule was, he'd work 3 days 1 week and 4 the next, the way his swing shift schedule was. And I was fixing to ready to turn him loose in a van, and get him out on the road, and just didn't show up one day for work. It was 3 months later before I talked to him again.
Golly.
Wouldn't return a call, wouldn't return a text. And when I finally did run into him, I had some words for him.
I bet.
I mean, I was aggravated.
Yeah.
I mean, didn't know if he got killed on the way into work or what, you know. And, I mean, we've since got over that a little bit, but it's still aggravating. You know, all it takes is, hey, this ain't working out.
You know, the old timers wouldn't have done that, would they?
No.
Just wasn't in them.
No. I mean, the rightful thing to do is either come in that day, or if nothing else, at the least, would pick up the phone and say, hey, this ain't working out.
That's a minimum.
Yeah.
I always taught, you know, give 2-week notice. That was always the, you know, thing. Stick it out 2 more weeks.
I worked over at Georgia Pacific, and for over almost 10 months, and the business had picked up that had to have help, and we always argued about stuff, and pay being one thing.
Yeah.
He wanted to pay by the hour, and I wanted paid by the job, and a percentage, just like almost like you'd think of, not on a commission, but on a production base.
Yeah.
And they finally agreed to that. So I turned in my 2-week notice at Georgia Pacific. I wound up working 3 weeks. I trained, my first guy I trained was an old boy I went to high school with. He left and to go get him something at lunch at midnight, was on 3rd shift, and never come back. And what had happened, he'd had a blowout, and it was a couple hours before he got everything fixed, and he figured he was fired anyway, so he didn't come back in. And then the other old boy I trained for a week and a half, I asked to come in late on that Friday night. This Friday night was going to be my last night there, and Polk County was playing at Men's Central, and I wanted to go to that football game. And I said, I'll be in just as soon as the game's over with. And they said, okay, that's fine. Well, I come back in there, and I'm looking around. I'm like, well, where's so-and-so? And they says, we fired him a while ago. I said, what do you mean fired him? And he said, well, he's back there, and we was having to do some cleanup and getting ready for an inspection that was fixing to come in. And with those corrugated boxes, it creates a lot of dust. And it can be extremely flammable. Yeah. Well, he was back there next to the baler, which generates a whole lot of dust, smoking a cigarette, blowing the rafters off. And they fired him, Johnny, on the spot.
Had to, I guess.
Yeah. And so I stayed another week and trained another person. I said, now this is on you. You've got to deal with him. And I mean, I liked it. There's good people there at Georgia Pacific, but I ain't made for factory. Doing the same thing over and over.
And I don't like seeing the same people every day.
No.
That irritates me too.
Yeah.
I'm too familiar with their habits,
Yes.
and then their habits get on my nerves.
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Do you think, did you play football at Polk County?
Mm-hmm. I sure did. 3-year letterman, captain my senior year, all-state defensive end.
Defensive end.
Yep.
You wouldn't let him get around?
Nope. I got a 6'7" arm span. I'm 6'1" with a 6'7" arm span. They couldn't
What's
get
your
around me.
what was your
In the program,
when you were in prime shape?
in the program, I was listed at 6'1", 175 pounds. And Coach Davis, Larry Davis, made me weigh in full pads, and I was holding 2 helmets. I was 155 pounds.
Is that right?
Yes.
So you were thin.
Mm-hmm.
I bet I weigh about 160 now. So that you were thin.
Yeah.
Muscular.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never could bulk up. I never could gain any real bulk, but I was cut good. I was really cut up. And one of the biggest things that I really liked is just running down full speed and hitting somebody. And after I had went in the Navy, now this was something, I went in Navy boot camp. I got nervous the night before I was reported to boot camp because you had to run a mile in 15 minutes, which I knew I could, but couldn't sleep. I was nervous. So I got up and I was running a mile. I'd run a half a mile down to a stop sign at the house and run back. Well, I smoked a cigarette going down and a cigarette coming back. and it was well within the time limit. So then I was able to go to sleep after that.
So you got up at night and did that?
Hell, it was like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't go to sleep. You know, just sort of nervous going to boot camp. But I go in boot camp at 155 pounds. I come out at 185 pounds.
So was it just bulked up at that point?
Then I was bulking up. I had a yeoman, or no, a cook specialist, Petty Officer Leon. He loved saying my name. And of course, he always loved, because if somebody screwed something up, I could fix it. And so he said, Woody, hey Woody, come here. And of course, I was always getting in trouble for talking, oddly enough. And so I got to demonstrate how well I could do push-ups. And I done probably 100,000 or more in the 8 weeks I was there.
Was boot camp tough in the Navy?
No.
Probably not like the Marines, maybe.
Oh Lord, no, it wouldn't compare to the Marine Corps. And but I mean, it wasn't as tough as 2-a-day practices in high school football.
Now,
I mean, there's more mental aspects of it. Someone in your face telling you what to do, when to do it, kind of thing. But if you played any kind of sports, especially for Larry Davis and John Dixon, you was used to that too.
Yeah.
And of course, like I told Dad when I come home, I didn't know if I should call him Dad, Sir, or Company Commander.
Yeah.
You know.
Right.
Because I had that all growing up as well.
Was you just in the Navy 4 years?
No, I didn't. I had signed up. It was actually an 8-year enlistment or a 10-year enlistment. It was 6 years active duty, 4 years inactive. I was training to be a sonar technician on a submarine. Doc Andrews, I scored a 98 on my ASVAB. And I went to the MEP station. I have scoliosis and a curvature of the spine, and a little more aggressive, as it turns out, than just simple a curvature of the spine. But I get up there, and Doc Andrews told me, he said, well, said, you've got great test scores. Said, I'll tell you what, said, you need to go back and tell them that you don't want to be in the Navy, that you're going to go in the Air Force. I said, if you go in the Air Force, I will pass your physical test. If you insist on going into the Navy, I'm going to fail you. And I said, no, sir, I'm a Navy man. He looked me square in the eye and says, you're a dumbass, and failed me. Okay, I come back home, had to talk to several different officers, got letters of recommendation and stuff, went back, got a medical waiver in less than a month. Went back in front of him again with that medical waiver. Well, of course, he had to pass me then. And he still said I was a dumbass. And so I go in, I go through boot camp, go through sub school. I was able to test out of an advanced mathematics course and went straight into BERT, which is basic electronics rate training. And I was less than 2 weeks away from completing it to go to my A school in San Diego when I got a letter from the, hospital on base, and I need to report to such and such doctor. So I go up there to the hospital on base, and they'd start doing these x-rays and doing this stuff back and forth. And I said, Lieutenant, I said, what's going on? I said, it looks here that your back's too bad for this man's Navy. You're going to be discharged. And I was like, well, what do you mean? And he says, yeah. I said, yeah, your back's too bad. Scoliosis, you know, it's pretty, you ain't going to be able to serve out your full enlistment. And I was like, well, that ain't right. I said, I've got a medical waiver. He goes, oh, good. Where's it at? I said, it's right there in my medical form. He goes, son, said, somebody lied to you. 3 days later, I'm sitting at home in Polk County. I've had 185 active duty days. The rest of my enlistment was converted to inactive duty.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I had it mapped out what I was going to do, because sonar technician, that same, roughly the same technology, you could very easily cross-train over into ultrasound technology. And that's what I was going to be, was an ultrasound technician after my stint. And of course, that didn't work. Come back in a bad frame of mind.
Well, I bet, yeah, because you were at the age where that would have been very traumatic, I would think.
Oh, I had a bad chip on my shoulder. Those are probably 5 of the hardest years that I'd ever went through.
Why 5 years?
That's how long it took me to get my head out of my ass.
And what was there? There's nothing wrong with your back. You look fine. You got good posture.
No, I never started having a problem till I was in my mid-40s. And now, after I had an MRI done, I was about 45, 46. And as what had been causing all the problem, I've got my L5 is sliding forward, putting pressure on my spinal column. And that causes a lot of chronic pain. But Dr. Russell Smith and his team of doctors and stuff, they have, through injections, and I'm on a low-dose pain regimen and stuff, it's been very manageable. Very
So were you ever at a point where you really had back pain?
Depending on, I would generally get up in the mornings, everything would be fine. As I'd go throughout the day, I would get to a point to where I would just have to sit down and, rest or just stop.
Reckon that was a football injury?
No. Well, don't really know. Can't really attribute that to anything. Because I've hurt myself a lot in doing things. I was very active. I fought forest fires for the Forest Service before I went in the Navy. Excuse me. Well, I done one trip out to Idaho in '89 after I graduated high school for 36 days. And then, of course, I went in the Navy in '90 and was discharged, went in April and was discharged in the middle of October. And then in '95, I went back to Montana, up in the northwestern corner of the state. And we'd sleep at night in Montana, and then we'd go over into Idaho and fight the fires. And we'd done that for 36, 37 days.
Golly.
Now, that's nice. Montana's beautiful, especially
Maybe
up there in
that
northwestern.
messed your back up a little bit. But can't they, through a chiropractor, manipulate those back into place?
Oh yeah. I go to a chiropractor. I hadn't been as often as I need to. Of course, mainly because my favorite chiropractor has retired, Lindsay Hathcock. And so I go see his brother-in-law, Keith Mills. And me and Keith, our schedules are so screwed up that I need to see him now.
Well, he likes
Just to be
Elvis,
honest.
don't he?
Yes. I tell you what.
He's Elvis's biggest fan.
Yeah.
Do you think that being out traveling like we do a lot, I see you a lot of times out at farmhouse. That's a good place to eat,
Yes.
isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It's quick and easy.
Good people.
Quick and easy.
Yeah.
What do you usually eat there?
Well, Tuesdays are my favorite day because that's Salisbury Steak Day. And then I guess, was it Thursdays? Tuesdays, usually about Tuesdays the only time I go out.
Well, I think Thursdays is chicken and dumplings, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
The group I go with, they like to go there on chicken and dumplings.
Yeah.
Day. They're big
Oh,
on
you
that
can't beat
for
it.
some reason.
I mean, it's good.
Yeah, they are nice people out there, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
They do a big business too.
Oh, yeah. I haven't, in the last few months, I haven't made it out there because El Don Tacos has opened up right across from the shop.
Down the road, on the left?
No, I mean diagonal right across from
Oh,
me.
yeah, it used to be that biscuit place.
Yes, yeah. And they have some of the best. I get the soft flour tortilla
That's
steak
what
tacos.
I like, the flour tortillas.
And,
That's best.
oh man, that is so good. The way they season their meat up and stuff. There's no other Mexican restaurant in town that can compare to it, in my opinion.
They'll make it where nobody else will, won't
Yep.
they?
Yeah. And last week I didn't get over there but twice. Usually it's about 4 days a week I eat over there.
At lunch?
Yep, I ate the same thing. I can go in there. I don't care if they're full or empty. I can go in there. They'll have my food ready for me, and I'll be back out the door in 20 minutes.
Even eating?
Yeah. Well, I always eat fast.
Yeah.
And when I was in the Navy, I was one of the few, because we only got 5 minutes for chow. And I could eat everything and be done and not even try to hurt.
This guy that I work with, I've timed him. He'll eat in 13 minutes. And I don't know how he can get it down that quick. And I asked him, I said, why do you eat so fast? He said, when he was in the Army, they didn't have time. They had to eat the food on the way to the trash can to throw it in.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know why they do that, do you?
Just a form of control, doing what you're
I
told.
guess. Seems to me like it upsets people's stomach.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure it would.
So did you eat fast before you went in, or is that
Yeah.
something you learned?
No. I always eat like that.
I bet that was tough when you got back from the Navy and all of a sudden you're just sitting there with all your aspirations just totally changed.
Well, it was a kick in the gut. I wasn't good enough.
You had medical problems.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal when you're 22 or something. Like, oh,
Yeah,
I got
I was
medical.
18 or 19.
You say, oh, I got some medical problems. What got you out of it? Any one thing or just time?
I think just time. Just had to work through it.
Just mentally had to work through it.
Yeah.
Do you think Polk County, you like the new Piggly Wiggly up there?
Fresh and not
Or fresh and no, not Piggly
Food
Wiggly.
City.
Food City, yeah, Food City.
It's beautiful.
Boy, they're busy,
It's
aren't they?
beautiful. It's beautiful.
I went in there here a couple weeks ago and bought some. Only had a display there, and it's all, you know. Sometimes you'll buy stuff because it just looks good.
Yeah.
They had like Chex Mix or something like that. It was.
I'd eat 4 of those tubs.
It was like $4.99 or something. I got it sitting beside my chair at night.
Yeah.
Pretzels. They got pretzels in it.
Oh yeah. Got pretzels, the Chex Mix, the what was that, dark brown crouton
The dark
stuff.
brown, yeah.
Yeah, and then some peanuts. And
There's not really very
Cheez-Its.
salty though.
No, well, you could got different ones. They had sort of different flavors.
Well, the
and
one I
stuff.
got was a little bland, but it was okay.
Yeah.
I'm still eating all the Christmas stuff people got me. I try to stay away from sugar, and I just
Just work harder.
it just
They're
I
about
just
11 calories.
you do any other exercise besides golf and work?
No.
No workout, no gym, no.
No. I get a lot of steps in from doing stuff around the house. We've got 2.5 acres. I'll go down to my shop and get one tool that I need, and I'll walk up to the other end and then realize I left what I needed, and I'll walk all the way back again, and then I get there and then I forget what I was coming to get. So I go back up to where I was working, and then it hits me about halfway what I went to get, so I turn around and go back and get it.
What end of Polk County you live on?
I live actually just right outside of Benton off Parksville Road. I've got the little mountain in front of me and the big mountain behind me.
See, I ride my bike through there. You ever see 2 guys riding bicycles through there?
Every now and then.
So old Parksville Road, before you get to Benton Station?
Oh, no. Parksville Road runs from Benton to Highway 64 out to the Ocoee River, number 1 down.
Oh, you're talking about the upper side, close to Phil Lee. You know
Yes.
Phil Lee?
Yes, yeah.
Well, he's
About
a nice
two
guy.
or 3 houses.
Oh,
yeah.
2 or 3 houses down from Phil Lee.
I can hit a golf ball to his house.
Oh, I wouldn't do that.
No, I like
That
Phil
wouldn't
too
go over
much.
good. He's a really good guy,
Now,
isn't he?
I think him and Mom went to school together. She graduated at Polk County, and I think her and Phil, they went to school together. But they were friends, and then I met him when he was working out at Homestead, and got to be friends with him out there, and then got on with him on Facebook and stuff. And then he built a nice house out there.
I redid his barn, put the elevator in his barn.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a nice setup.
Yeah, I eat lunch with him about 3 times a week. He's a really good guy.
Yes, he
I
is.
mean, he's 100%, just 100%.
Yeah. Me and him, we share a lot of the same beliefs.
Oh, I knew that. I
Yeah.
can tell you that.
Yeah, I guess that's probably why we got along so good. And then him and Dad are good friends too, and stuff.
Oh, he's friends with your dad, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Do you think that Polk County's Benton's really, I mean, if you go down that main road, it's so much busier than it used to be.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Just to stand at that gas station and watch the track. Where are they going? Are they going?
That's the way it's always been. I mean, 411 has always been a main artery.
Yeah, but it
and-
seems like it's just more now.
Well, there's over the last several years, we've been getting more and more people's moving into Polk County. Granted, our property taxes are a little on the high side, but yet you don't have anything else. You can buy decent acreage and be away from other people for those that want to be out away from people. And the several hundreds of people that's been moving in. It's all pretty much been veterans that's been moving in, and which is nice.
Sure. Yeah.
And but you've got as Cleveland gets bigger, you've got some people here in Bradley County is moving over into Polk County and start a mini farm type thing, which that's extremely popular and stuff. And when when the political climate turns dark, people want them a safe place, something far away from people. I'll just say it like a zombie apocalypse is coming. They want a nice homestead that they can defend out in the middle of nowhere.
They just feel safer
County's
for some
a good
reason.
place like that.
Well, Polk County's gone red, hadn't they?
Yeah.
More so than they used to be.
Yeah, oh, big time. I mean, used to. So I've worked elections from, after I come home out, from 1990, from 92, about 92 on, I was either working in my polling precinct or I was the election technician. And of course, I'm an election commissioner now for the county. And so I've been involved with them, with the election stuff in Polk County, and have seen it changing ever so slowly for over 30 years.
So it's just been incremental, sort of?
It was incremental. Now, Polk County generally was always Democrat on the county level. Whenever they started changing more so over to like your U.S. Senate congressmen and House representatives and stuff like that, they were voting red back then, but they never would change that over on the county level. The Democrat Party, National Party, hastened that leading up to the 2016 election. And from 2016 on, it has been, instead of where it was just a trickle, it's been an avalanche.
That it's not that the people changed their views, it's that to me, it was like the Democrat Party changed their views.
Yes.
It's because the people in Polk County aren't really going to change their views.
They were the old school conservative
They're
Democrats.
where they're at. That's
Exactly.
right. Reagan Democrats,
Right.
they used to call them.
Exactly. Exactly.
You ever go over to the Amish place? What?
Last time I was over there with a good buddy of mine, Lamont Lowe, I wound up not only getting vegetables and some preserves, but I brought a dog back with me. Somebody had thrown
My wife brought 2 ducks back. We didn't even have a pond.
Oh, shoot. Well, I've got a pond, but it won't hold water. So
Well, on Saturday mornings, they got the baked goods. That's really a big deal. But right now, I think they're starting to get in lettuce.
Yeah. This time of year, it should be coming.
But you can taste that lettuce. It's just different than you buy at the store. It's just different.
Yep.
It's just better.
Well, most of the stuff you're getting out of the stores, not knocking the farmers that are growing that and stuff, but a lot of them are grown in greenhouses and stuff. Or as my father-in-law used to call them, hot houses.
Hot houses. That's what they call them, hot houses.
And it don't taste the same.
It just doesn't taste the same. I don't know.
He would tell me tomatoes was his big thing.
That's my big
Yeah.
thing, buddy. I love tomatoes.
I like them ground up in salsa.
I can eat a tomato and a salt and pepper and nothing else for supper.
Yeah, good. I actually raised some pretty good tomatoes this year.
I usually go to the farmer's market, but the lady I buy them from is from Polk County.
Really?
Yeah. But when you get up towards McMinn, they're a little better tomatoes. I don't know if it's the soil.
It's the soil
It's
composition from the river. And
a little
stuff
more
up there.
acidy, and this is the way I like my tomatoes.
Yeah. Now, Kenneth Malone over at Beatty's, he's been, over the last several years, has been getting a lot of heirloom plants and stuff in. And pretty much, Kenneth, that's all I'll buy of his stuff, is all the heirloom stuff. And I really, there's one year, my daughters, they're 19 and 15 now, but when they were little, they loved those little Tommy toes.
Yeah.
Well, I planted a whole row of them things.
There's a lot of Tommy toes.
We never grew Tommy toes when I was a kid. I didn't know one plant produced 10,000 tomatoes.
Tommy toes, yeah.
I mean, Lord, and I had like 10 of those plants. We had, you think of a 50-gallon drum.
Yeah.
And within 2 weeks, I mean, it was just crazy. And the girls, they just go out there and just pick them off the plant.
Like
and eat
eating
them.
cherries.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't do that again. That was more work.
I was going to plant some tomatoes this year, but I always get to going pretty good on it, and then the next thing you know, I forget all about it, and it just all rots.
That's the same way. That's what I done this year. Usually, everything starts coming in just before we go on vacation. Then once we go on vacation, I come back lazy, and I don't get back down there and start weeding the garden again.
It's really, you got to stay on it.
Yeah.
You know, I think a person could start a business by just going around and tending to people's gardens. Not a 50-acre thing of beans, but just, you know, the guy that has, you know, the size of this room or maybe twice as big.
Well, a
and
victory
say,
plot.
what do you call it?
A victory plot. You know, like during World War II, they had their victory gardens and stuff. Everybody, they all grew small gardens. And a lot of times it wasn't even just as big as this table.
Who was it mentioned the other day, a victory garden? But I remember that phrase, and I thought, what's that? And you brought it up again. Isn't that weird?
Yeah. Things going
Why was it they called it victory? There was a reason.
Was because it was rationing. There was food rationing during World War II. So, you know, anything more that you could put on the table, you know, was a victory. And it was freeing up other resources to be used toward the war effort.
It was called a victory garden. And a victory garden didn't have to be, it was the size of this room, or because they didn't have a lot of places then to do that.
Well, a lot of them, you'll see pictures in magazines and stuff, it was probably no bigger than this table. Of course, you think about it, tomatoes, some beans.
Oh,
you know, you can fill this area up with a lot of stuff, and it'd been a lot easier to take care of than trying to do an acre with a bunch or a half.
Well, at least you'll take care of this.
Exactly.
The other you won't take care of. Manageable is the word.
Yeah.
See, that's the way me and you have to think, being in business for ourselves. We have to think what's manageable.
Exactly.
What's a good idea isn't worth nothing if it's not manageable.
Exactly. I mean, you can start anything. You got to follow through. You got to finish. Every project has a start date and a completion date. And if you start something with no completion, you know, in mind or any exit strategy, I'll say, then it'll never get done.
You know, my good friend Gene Officer, I remember one time I said, Gene, I'm going to start working out this year. And he said, Dee, don't start anything you can't keep up. He said, just get up in the morning and do 20 push-ups. You can keep that up.
Yeah.
And I've done that like, you know, 5 days a week at least.
Yeah.
For years.
That will increase your heart rate just enough. You don't need to overdo it. It just gets the
and
blood
you can
pumping.
do it. It don't take but a minute.
I don't know how many times I started. I had a Bowflex. So me and Dad, we used to buy mini warehouses. For about 30 years, we'd buy mini warehouses when they'd auction them off. And long before Storage Wars and those TV shows started up and stuff. And I got this real nice Bowflex. Well, I kept working it, and I wound up maxing it out. I would work out every little thing whenever it would, you know, as much weight as you could possibly put on there. That's what I was working out with. And then so I increased my reps. Well, then I increased that and kept increasing, and somehow I strained this deltoid muscle right here. That hurts.
Now you can't keep that up.
You lift that up, you know.
I've got one like that.
It hurts. So that was 2 or 3 months before that healed up, and so I got rid of the Bowflex, and then I've got a real nice free weight set, and I got it all set up down in my shop. I got plenty of room there. Worked out a couple of times, and then it turned cool that year. It's been sitting there for 4 years now. I ain't touched it since. I've got stuff hanging on it.
Let me tell you what a friend of mine did. He had this. This is a funny story. It's funny to me. I don't know if it's funny to anybody else, but he had this stationary bike set up. And so he had this electrician come over doing some work, and the electrician said, do you use that stationary bike? And he said, no. He says, every time you use it, it makes my lower back hurt. He said, I'll sell it to you. And so he said, well, how much you want for it? And he said, $25. So the electrician took it and turned the handlebars around and hauled it outside. He was leaning over. That's what was making his back hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be something that simple.
Yeah.
Why is that so funny to me?
Because we see
I
that
mean, you felt
every
pretty
day.
stupid,
Yeah.
you know, here he was.
Right. It's almost as bad as a man going to see the doctor and says, "Doc, my elbow hurts when I do this." He says, "Well, stop doing that." I mean,
You know, my arm has been hurting right here, and it's because in my truck, I got my phone on one of those things where you attach it to the grill,
Yep.
and I'm reaching, which you're not supposed to be
No.
texting and driving, but I'm reaching, and I got to where I could not sleep on this side.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got this new thing now where it's got this real sturdy. I don't know. It's like you can bend it, and I bend it closer to me.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's got now I'm doing like this, so it's a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It's these movements that you do all the time that will just destroy you.
yes.
And the only reason I knew it was because my arm hurt.
Yeah.
And I'll get thinking, in my business, what am I doing that's driving me crazy, but I don't realize it because it's not hurting a specific thing.
Exactly.
Like you got to set these rules. You're open this time. You'll answer the phone here, and you'll do that on Tuesday. You have to be you have to do that to be in business, or you'll just have to fold.
Yeah. I mean, and plus, with today's technology, of course, I know not everybody will send a text message or anything. Well, it states if you call and I can't get to you because I may have 8 or 10 people standing in front of me and I can't answer the phone right now, leave a message or text, and I'll give them my cell phone number they can text it to. Because right now, if you call the shop right now, you're going to call a 476-4171 number. Okay, it's forwarded to my cell phone here that's in my pocket. Okay, I've got it turned off right now, so we're not going to hear it ring.
No.
But it's going to go to my voicemail, and then my voicemail is going to tell you you've called Woody's Lock and Key. I'm open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I'm in the shop every morning from 9 to 12. After 12, I'm in and out on calls. Leave me a message or send a text, and then I give them my cell phone number. Maybe 1 out of 100 will send a text, and maybe 1 out of 150 will leave a message. And now those that leave a message, they don't know how to talk on the phone.
They'll not leave their number.
Yeah.
Or start in the middle of the sentence. I hate that. They'll
Yes.
start in the middle of the sentence.
Or they won't tell you what the problem is.
Or they'll talk so long
it times out.
yeah.
I mean, it's
Almost logistics, I guess. You know, I used to, 10 years ago, texting somebody was rude. Mm-hmm. Now it's rude to call them.
Exactly.
Isn't that funny how that's worked? Used to, I'd get irritated somebody texting me. Now I don't want them to call me. I want them to text me. Because when they text me, I've got a record of it.
right, exactly.
And I can say, send me their contact, and I don't have to download it. I'll know that it's in that chain of talk.
Every text you've ever sent me, I've still got.
And
I don't delete any of them. I've got every single text that I have received since, I'm going to say about 16 years.
Wonder if they ever get full. You know, my emails are getting full, and I have to go through and
I have to
delete
go through and
because
delete stuff in
I'm not
emails.
going to buy that extra time.
The texting takes up so small. So, and both of the phones that I use, I've got several gigs of storage, and a text message it takes up bytes.
Yeah, an email would take up more. That's
Yes.
where you get.
Oh, yeah.
Because do you do a lot of emailing?
Woody's Lock and Key does not do business by email.
So all you do is your email is for bills and
Right.
suppliers.
There are some exceptions.
So you
but
keep
I don't-
suppliers and emails and text messages is through customers.
Right. We've got stuff. You know, I still have a fax number, and I still have a fax machine hooked up, and stuff. Of course, nobody else does, but I still got one.
You still get any text at all? Any faxes at all?
Yes, and it's always that scam stuff, or metal distributors and stuff like that. But it's so easy to say, "Oh, well, I'll send you everything by email." Okay, I've got a real simple email. It's Woody's Lock and Key 81 at gmail.com. Okay. Well, did you get my email? No, didn't get no email. Well, I sent it. I thought, okay, you may have. I don't know. I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's worse than U.S. Postal Service.
It really
now.
is. Because they can just put the wrong number in.
Yes, they could do anything.
They can say Woody instead of Woody's.
Exactly.
Or whatever.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just it's so aggravating. And that's why I was, text me. Send me a text. It's harder to screw that up.
Yeah, and they know when you got,
Well, you can get in a reply
you
just
get
like
a
that.
reply, yeah.
You know, I've got my phone with me pretty much all the time. I don't pull my email up and look at it all the time.
Is service good in Polk County?
Well, Verizon has good coverage. Now, this don't make no sense, but T-Mobile, if you go down 411, if you get more than, say, 100 yards off 411 to the east, you'll lose service. You go back to 411, you've got 5G.
Oh,
It don't make no sense.
That makes
It don't make a lick of sense. And of course, being there in the valley where I'm at, it don't do. I don't have nothing at home. Of course, I've got internet at home, so it connects to Wi-Fi. And but I had a situation. I had a friend of mine whose mother had passed away, and he had let me know Friday night or Friday sometime whenever he sent me the text, and I just found it Friday night after I'd got home from work, and I had responded back to him and stuff. Well, I'd picked my phone up this morning. The message didn't send.
oh, I hate that.
And so I had to resend, and then I had to send an apology because of it
yeah.
and stuff. Because I mean, that burns me up.
Oh, it does
And,
me too.
I mean-
and sometimes I forget to hit send.
Yeah,
That's on occasions. But I
Yeah.
check mine before I go to bed. So if I forget to hit send, I'll catch it at 11:30.
I've usually had to be on the phone so much during the day. I'd just like to throw it when I get home. Now I know you feel the same way
I
at
feel
times
the
too.
same way.
When I go on vacation, my most favorite thing to do is leave my phone at the house, and then I'm down on the beach fishing or just hanging out.
But boy, don't you dread the time? Do you remember the times when we had to stop and use the pay phones? I knew every pay
Oh, I
phone in
loved it.
Cleveland.
I loved it. These cell phones ain't nothing but a leash. You can be got a hold of at any time. It's a leash.
But don't you remember the days you spent $10 on quarters at pay phones?
I never spent that much. I mean, now, you know, we always had a system. Maybe it's a Polk County thing. Like if we were traveling, me and a buddy of mine, after we graduated high school, we went down to Daytona Beach. There's a whole big wad of us from Polk County. Daytona will probably never be the same. And on the way down, you know, she wanted us to check in at the first time we stopped, got gas. So he'd call collect and some made up name. And when she got that call,
Yeah.
she'd say no, she wasn't gonna pay for it, but she knew it was okay. And so that's the way we worked that.
I was watching Archie Bunker the other night, and Meathead did that, and Archie
Lord.
told him he was stealing. Because Meathead had said something to him about doing something wrong, so he caught him doing that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. But yeah, we'd do stuff like that. Of course, and half the times here in Cleveland, especially as a kid, you know, you see a payphone, you go run your finger in the coin return.
Oh, yeah.
I've had free calls. It seemed like free was that always be a quarter. Well, I can remember when calls were a dime. I
remember when there was a dime.
And I mean, there'd always be change. It seemed like, and at least if you check 3, you'd find.
You never walk past one without putting, whether it's a Coke machine or
Yeah.
a newspaper, they always had a quarter in them.
yes.
It must have been flimsy or
Yeah.
something.
I think what would happen, they wouldn't clean those out, you know, pull the quarters out, and then it would go through, let you open it up. Well, then when you shut it, they wasn't room, so it'd fall back in return.
But you know, I quit doing
on
that.
Emmons Street used to be like that. Half
Oh,
the time
yeah.
I got a free paper, I'd pay
Yeah.
for it, but then it'd spit my money back out.
Might as well take it.
I mean,
You know, I think there's still a payphone up in Charleston at that convenience store across from the school. I believe there's still a payphone. You know, I quit doing that change in there when I read somewhere where they were putting razor blades in them.
oh yeah, and there's thumbtacks or
yeah,
something with
and that-
HIV virus and
And-
stuff
oh
on it.
yeah, the HIV. And I quit doing that then. That just ruined everything.
No.
Just ruined everything.
Do you know if anybody ever got stuck by one?
Not a one.
Me either.
Remember when they were saying that they were putting razor blades in
candy and
candy?
Halloween
How
and
that's
stuff.
killed that.
Yep.
Everybody's always
Now,
messing
there's no
stuff
more
up.
going door to door like it was when we were little. You know, now of course, there's nothing wrong with it, but every church does their trunk or treat.
Trunk or
which is
treat, yeah.
fine. And
Yeah.
then, of course, we do one in Benton there at the show barn now that we've gotten as a member of the AMVETS Post 911 there in Benton. We always have candy to give out. Now, I wasn't there last year, but year before last, it had over like 1,600 people came through.
I went through their block party here this Halloween.
Benton's?
Yeah.
We had a block party.
Yeah, block party. Yeah. I was one Saturday afternoon. I think it was Saturday afternoon. They had
Oh, that's Harvest Days.
Harvest Days, yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Now we're on the same
Yeah.
page. There was a golf tournament I played in that day, and I seen our people there for the AMVETS Post 911 where the monuments are at. That's where we had our tent and stuff set up. They were actually taking things down where it is finishing up. But what was that? There was a benefit golf tournament that was going on at that same time too. That I was playing in out here at Chatta Valley.
that Harvest Days was Thanksgiving, wasn't it? Was it around
No,
Thanksgiving?
It was before Thanksgiving, yeah.
Because they had
Usually
another one
Harvest
around
is the end of
Thanksgiving.
October, yeah. There is another one, I forget what it's called.
They were.
Think about it.
I can't.
Thanksgiving's too late to be harvested. You better have
You know,
everything harvested
there's
by
one.
then.
There's one lady that has a vacant lot over there, and she always sort of puts some nativity scenes or something across from the courthouse. I haven't figured out what that's for.
Oh, doggone it.
You know where I'm talking about?
Yes,
It's a
yes,
real
I
neat
do.
little.
She's got the beauty shop there, Faith and Football. Yes, I love her to death. Her brother played football with her brother, and he's passed away. And is John Dishman, and he was a stand-up guy. I really thought a lot of John. But yeah, his sister, I'll butcher her name, so I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. My wife forbade me from trying to name anybody because I am so bad at names, and I can't keep things straight. Now, you ought to feel privileged that I remembered your name. Of course, I've got to really like you or really dislike you for
One
me
or
to-
the other.
Yeah, it's one or the other. There's no happy medium.
But besides golf, what do you do anything for a pastime?
Yeah. This time of year, especially when it's too cold to work or do anything outside or to want to do anything outside, I play some online gaming and stuff.
You mean like what do you call that?
I play on a PlayStation 5.
Yeah, places that, yeah.
It's, I
What's
play a
it?
lot of Call of Duty. Some of the guys I play with, I've been playing with for over 20 years. It started way back on the PlayStation 2 in a game called SOCOM 2. And that was the first game that was advertised on TV that came out with a headset where you could interact and talk.
Yeah.
Now,
That
over
was
the-
what, about 8 years ago, maybe 10? That they
20.
started the headset? I guess it was 20 years
Late
ago.
90s, early 2000s.
They got whole communities, don't they?
Oh, Lord, yeah.
Which one is
there's
it that
some-
Elon Musk just got the highest score of ever? Have you ever heard of that? Because they got all kinds of games now.
Yeah, no, I don't know what that would have been.
I'm not sure if it was Call of Duty or or another game.
Well, it's not scored basically like that. It's you gain rank as you play the game
Oh.
and stuff. Yeah,
Well,
it's not like a Galaga game where
Yeah.
you compete against a high score.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think that this that they'll start getting this? I saw Zuckerberg put that helmet on.
Oh,
where he's-
VR helmet?
VR helmet.
Yeah, virtual reality.
Do you wonder if we're in a virtual reality?
If we are, I think they could have done a better job with the graphics. and the interface sucks. So,
But maybe, right?
yeah, I mean, it could be,
I mean,
very piss poor design.
if they're listening,
Yeah.
if they're listening, send me $1 million twice. Boy, $1 million wouldn't be nothing no more, would it?
Not like it used to be. Not like it used to be. Now $1 million a day, or $1 billion a day, was $1 million 20 years
That's
ago.
that's about the way. Remember when the Clampetts had 40 million?
Yeah.
Wasn't that what they had? 40 million.
Yeah. And I mean, they could have bought the world basically.
They could have bought the world.
And now 40 million, you might get you some land down in L.A. or Alabama.
Or a senator.
Yeah.
Maybe you probably wouldn't even get us a
Not
good
one.
senator. No. Let me ask you this: do you have any homeless people at your place that come through or anything? Or I know you got gates there, but
Not as much anymore. We used to. We had a lot. And some of it got a little problematic. I had some thefts there. They would shimmy in through the gates, and old boy stole a bicycle. He was missing a pedal. I can just picture him going down the road trying to pedal that thing. But I don't. My brother was working with me then, and the van that he was driving had a door that malfunctioned. It would. You'd hit it locked, sometimes it'd lock, sometimes it wouldn't. Well, this time it didn't. And I come in that Monday morning and opened the back gate up, pulled in. Well, there's his van door standing open, the lights on, the inside lights on. And I was like, well, this idiot's left his door open.
Yeah.
So I called him and said, no, everything was closed up when I left. I said, all right. So I went straight, pulled the camera footage, and sure enough, somebody had come in, opened it up, and stole some stuff. And there's a lot of tools he brought from the house, his own tools. And I told him not to do that, but he did anyway. And the guy come in, now he turned and looked up at my camera at one of the many I've got. He turned up and looked up at it, and he had this great old big neck tattoo right there that just got just a perfect image of it. And you can't fake that,
No.
And then he goes and he gets that bicycle that's missing a pedal, and he rolls it over and throws it over the back fence. About hurt himself doing it, because it took him about 5 minutes to get it up and over, and it wasn't a very big bicycle. Yeah. And then he goes over and he's piddling around some more stuff, and then he's pulling on them van doors, and that one door open. Well, then he rifles through. Of course, he just got the common hand tools and stuff like that. There's a lot more expensive specialty stuff that was in there. Of course, he would have known what it was, and that would have been where the real money was, but that made it even easier to track, too. And so he got away with probably about $900 worth of stuff, replacement value stuff. And, of course, our insurance took care of everything. And they caught the old boy again later down at Friendly Tire and Auto. Is breaking in those short buses for the school system. The short buses,
how low
is breaking
can you get?
in with those and stealing the AM radios out of them. They didn't even have those AM radios.
How low can you get?
I mean, I see it every day.
But you've got it locked up pretty good, so there wouldn't be like.
Yeah, if it's sitting out, well, the most expensive things I've got sitting outside, I've got a $1,500 safe sitting outside.
They can't haul it off.
It weighs 975 pounds.
Yeah.
If you're man enough to come in and pick it up, you can have it. But
I noticed you had it on the file safe. You said UPS leave packages in the file cabinet.
yeah, that's FedEx.
FedEx, yeah.
UPS does a lot better job than FedEx does.
So they just open the door and put stuff in it?
Yeah.
That's a good thing to do, isn't it?
And I've got cameras on it, on that. I can just.
You can see when they deliver it.
I can see when they deliver. If somebody's nosing around, I've got them coming and going. I've got tag numbers. I've also got a camera that's pointed right at that red light that I've helped with the city police department and a few other investigations that's going on in the past. When accidents, we've had as many as 4 accidents right there at that red light.
Oh, I'll have one there tomorrow.
I don't know why people there. I don't know if they're coming on, if they're on 3rd Street heading toward
Maybe they're just
Broad Street. I
Yeah.
don't know if they're not looking at that red light there and just focusing on Broad Street's red light or what. But they'll run that red light and hit somebody. I mean, it beats all I've ever seen. And it, excuse me, at least 7 or 8 times a day, they will come up eastbound on 3rd Street and turn right, going south
On the one
South
way.
Ocoee, which is one way north.
Yeah.
And I mean, we'll see 7 to 10 a day do that.
I assume they're from out of town, right?
No.
I guess from
No,
Cleveland.
the majority of them has got Bradley County tags.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's always been that way. Even when we were up the street, we was at like 185 South Ocoee, and then we moved one door down to 285, and they would still they would pull in. I've seen them all the way up at Emmons Street, turn left on the South Ocoee Street and drive all the way down there, all the way down.
You know, I guess you've got a pretty. With that road, is that road coming through? Have they said anything about widening that 3rd Street?
Yeah, well, when we first opened the shop up down here, Don Carroll had been trying to get Dad to buy that corner lot where he had his used car lot. And I remember as a kid then, him telling Dad, said, any day now, Woody, they're going to come through, they're going to 4-lane this, and it's going to take all this stuff, said you'll make $1 million on it.
Well, they hadn't yet, but that's what their plan
It's been
is.
43 years.
Yeah.
That's supposedly it
So
is.
so even Don Carroll was bringing it up then.
Yeah, 40
Isn't that
years
something?
ago.
I thought they had a new idea, but Don Carroll was already talking about it.
No, it's
That was 30 years ago.
No, we've been here 43.
So Don was bringing that up then?
Yes,
Golly.
yes.
How
He was,
was
of
that?
course, being so close, close there at 230
Yeah.
South Ocoee was
Yeah.
where he was, 230 South Ocoee. We, being so close, Don would always just come up and have extra keys made there at the shop. He'd just walk up the street.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't even a full city block.
Right, yeah.
And him and Dad, he was all the time trying to get Dad to buy that. And I think back then, he was wanting $118,000 for it. And I think that's what he got for it when he finally sold it.
You know, if they make that road very wide, it'll take your building, won't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the projection, well, you know how projections
Yeah.
are. It's going to take the building.
Where will you go?
Well, I mean, I rent from Nicholas Lilios owns the building, and he's got several properties and stuff.
You just go
And
somewhere
so
else.
hopefully he'll have someplace I can move into, that's similar.
Yeah.
Of course, we've always been on South Ocoee Street. I'd like to try to stay on South
Yeah.
Ocoee, but the way the city's getting, I just don't see that as being feasible. But regardless, I will have a shop that people can come to and to have keys duplicated and stuff, or if they want to bring something and drop it off, and I'll have it ready for them in a day or two, that kind of thing. I'll definitely keep that up because, Cleveland really never had that. Mr. Ferris, I think it was Ferris Lock and Key, he had across from his house, just across a little side street, he had a nice big shed he worked out of and had a lot of his stuff set up in. And that's what he done mainly. And but of course, most of the locksmiths, all the other locksmiths here in town, they're all just mobile only.
Yeah.
And you got one that does nothing but automotive, and then another one that does
I don't even
everything
know who
else
they are.
but any automotive.
Your dad did real good over the years, becoming the only one that we know of.
Well, I mean, you do a good job, and you treat people right.
And you start
and your name
43.
sells
Yeah.
itself.
That's true with any business, I
Yep.
guess. Hey, I appreciate you coming.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it. I've loved this.